Twilight's point of view. As I was putting the last book in a pile for Spike to clean up, there was a series of knocks on the door. "Oh, for crying out loud," I said to myself, annoyed. "This is a library. Come right in," I yelled. The door opened, and a very scared Fluttershy came looking around for me. She spotted me and ran up to me and said in a stammering voice, "Please come help, Twilight." "What's wrong, Fluttershy?" I asked, worried, because if Fluttershy is scared and stammering with her words, that means something terrible had happened. "There are 2 seriously injured ponies in the every forest, and I went to Nurse Redheart. She got them in the intensive emergency care, but they might not make it," she said, really worried and scared for them. "Let's go. Maybe there's something I can do," I said, trying to reassure her. She nodded, and we both left, heading towards the hospital. After half an hour, I stood in the room with 2 seriously injured ponies. With Fluttershy out in the hallway, both of them attached to life support and IV stands. Both of them were covered in casts. "Nurse," I called out. "Yes," said a white earth pony with a pink mane and tail in a tight bun, with a nurse's hat on, her cutie mark being a red cross with hearts in the corners. "What happened to these ponies?" I asked, worried, because I had never seen ponies this injured before. "They have scraps, cuts, and bruises." "Oh my." "What was that?" said Fluttershy as she walked in, seeing the 2 ponies in the broken state. "This pony has several broken ribs and 2 broken forelegs, and both of his wings are broken, and some head bleeding," she said, pointing to the stallion. "Wait, this one is a Pegasus?" I asked as I took a closer look at him. His coat is white with a bit of silver hair poking up beneath the blooded wraps on his head. On closer inspection, I saw his wings in casts tied to his body. "And this one," she continued, pointing at the other, "she also has several broken ribs, 2 broken back legs, and a hairline crack in her horn, and a little internal bleeding." I looked at the mare. She had a light brown coat, tan mane and coat. That's probably supposed to be tan mane and tail, and her horn wrapped up. "I don't recognize them, but Pinkie might know, for she knows every pony in Ponyville. Will they be okay?" I asked. Nurse Redheart just shrugged and said with a sad expression, "I don't know. Their chances of survival are very slim, and I am afraid both of them might not make it through to see another day." With that, she left the room. I looked at Fluttershy and saw that she started crying, probably remembering when she thought the princess's pet bird died on her. And she is probably thinking that these 2 will too. "No, I will see that these 2 will live. I might not know them, but they deserve to live," I said as I walked between them. Excuse me. I closed my eyes and concentrated. I felt magic surrounding the 2 ponies, and I concentrated more. I sensed my magic setting their bones back in proper place and knitting them back together. I turned my attention to the Pegasus and focused on his wings, thinking what they should be in full health and not the state that they are in. I finished with the stallion's wings, and I turned my attention back to the unicorn and fixed her eternal bleeding and the hairline crack in her horn. After I finished, I turned around feeling tired and saw Fluttershy and Nurse Redheart with their mouths open. Nurse Redheart was the first to speak. "I can't believe it," she said as she ran up to the 2 ponies and checked them over. After she finished, she said, "You single-hoofed cured these 2 ponies of injuries, except for a few bruises and cuts here and there. But now their chances to live are sure. They will be fine." I smiled with good news and said, "Glad I can help." With that, I fell to the floor, asleep. Eric's point of view. I woke up in the soft bed with a major headache. What did I do last night? I thought as lances of pain shot through my head. I tried to get up, but couldn't. I looked down at my body, which was covered by a blanket, and saw a couple of belts restraining me. "Okay, now, what did I really do last night?" I said to myself as I saw the restraining belts. "And why does my back feel weird?" I said, feeling something wrong with my back, if not uncomfortable, just odd. I remember the mysterious cloaked figure. That was one weird dream. I examined my surroundings and saw that I was surrounded by curtains that they use in hospitals. I felt my heart skip a beat, and I realized I was in the hospital. Was there some kind of accident? What about Brittany? I asked to the air, worried. Ah, I knew I heard voices. That must mean you're awake now, said a female voice behind the curtains. Yes, I am awake now. What happened to me? What about my friend? Is she okay? And what's up with the restraints? I asked to the voice. Well, both of you were in an accident, and your bodies were broken, and almost didn't make it. But you're both fine now, and your friend is okay. She is sleeping right now, and with your restraints, it is more for your protection than ours. Both of your bodies were broken, so we weren't sure about both your minds. That is good to know. As you can hear, I am sound-minded. So if you could, unstrap me, please, I asked. Sure thing. I'll be right there. Thank you. I stopped in mid-sentence, for the curtain parted to reveal a very familiar pony standing there. Nurse Redheart, I said, surprised at what I saw. Nurse Redheart looked at me confused and said, Funny, I didn't tell you my name. Well, it's just that you are well known where I am from, I said, trying to keep my panic level down. She looked confused for a moment, then became happy and said, well, thank you. I didn't know that other ponies knew me. I silently released the breath that I was holding. She walked to my bed and undid the straps restraining me. So, what happened to us? She explained what happened to us. She asked me what caused us to be in that condition. I answered her saying I don't know, and asked her how are we both okay. She replied to me saying that Twilight Sparkle fixed our broken bodies. It also added... I'm sorry. And also added that we were out for about 2 days. What is going on here? I thought as I got up from my bed and stretched with my eyes closed as I took a step away from the bed. Balance shifted. Next thing I knew, my face had been planted on the ground. Okay, now what is going on? I said. I got my face off the floor and looked around at the rest of my body, and felt my heart skip several beats. Ah! I yelled out as I saw final registries in my mind. For my body were that of a pony, and on my back were a pair of wings. What happened? What's wrong? Nurse Redheart said as she rushed in and found me on the floor. She smiled at me being on the ground. I guess you might need a little therapy, but I'm not surprised. You did have a terrible accident. No, it's okay. Just give me a little time to get this righted out, I said quickly, getting up shakily on to my hoofs. She nodded. At that moment. We both heard a cry coming from the other side of the curtains. Where am I? What happened to me? Why am I strapped down to this bed? I looked at Nurse Redheart and said, I'll handle this one if you don't mind. I think you were right. Seeing a familiar face will help her relax, she said in agreement. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have other patients to take care of. And with that, she left the room. I shakily walked to the other side of the curtain and parted it, and got a good look at Brittany. On the bed laid a light brown-coated tan mane unicorn. The unicorn gave me a wide-eyed look and said with Brittany's, a freaking Pegasus. Now I'm really confused. Wait a minute, you look familiar. She gave me a good look and said, Starstreet, is that you? That is impossible. You're a made-up character. She trailed off, realizing something. Eric, is that you? Brittany asked cautiously. Who else? I answered her. What happened to you? You look just like Starstreak. I don't know, but I'm not the only one. What do you mean? Will you please untie me from this bed? Sure, I said as I walked to her bed, which I am getting the hang of. I grabbed the straps in my mouth and released her restraints as I was trying to get the... Sorry, I'm just really tired. I was trying to get the taste of whatever material the scraps are made out of my mouth. To warn her about her new looks, Brittany quickly got out of bed and immediately fell flat on the floor. Ow, what is going on here? Brittany asked me with annoyed as she looked up for me at the floor. I started laughing because she still doesn't get it. She gave me an angry look and caused me to laugh some more. After I calmed down, I said, "Brittany, you are a pony too." She looked at me with a shock. She looked at me shocked, then started to give herself a once-over to confirm what I said. "Oh, freak," she said as she got up shakily to her hoofs. And then she asked me what happened and why we were in the hospital. So I explained what happened to us from Nurse Redheart. "So, what now?" I asked her as I finished explaining to her. "Well, let's get out of here and try and let's get out of here and try. Let's get out of here and try to figure out how we got here in Equestria. Oh, and let's use our pony names. We don't want to confuse every pony here with our human names." "Okay, Arcana," I said, agreeing with her. I was about to call for the nurse. Arcana said, "I hope we're not in Cupcake's reality," shivering at the thought. "I don't think so. So far, I has been pretty normal and nice." After getting Nurse Redheart to check us out of the hospital, we wandered around Ponyville, looking with an odd expression on our faces. Our stomachs then started to rumble from hunger. We looked at each other. "I guess we need something to eat," I said with a smile. "Let's try Sugar Cube Corner," Arcana said with excitement. As we made our way to the sweet shop, I noticed that we both are getting a few weird glances in our direction, but I ignore them as I saw Sugar Cube Corner in front of us. When we got inside, there were a few ponies here and there, so we quickly got to the counter. I saw one of those ring bells, so I lifted my hoof and hit the bell, making it ring. With her eyes closed, she said, "Welcome to Sugar Corner. What can I do for—" Pinky finally opened her eyes and saw us, made a huge gasp. There was a pink blur and Pinky was gone. "What the hey happened?" I asked Arcana in confusion. She shrugged and we both stared at the spot where Pinky was a moment ago. And once again, we were more confused when there was 2 pieces of cake on a plate there with a note saying, "Here you go, enjoy, and don't worry, it's free." We looked at each other, shrugged, grabbed our plates, and then took our first meal in Equestria.